Let's start with chapter number 24 or lecture number 24. I think in the previous lecture we have gone through link and end-to-end encryption happens at different OSI layers. इसमें अगर हम देखें तो in the first diagram you can see the same concept. I mean, on the upper end you have an end-to-end encryption that might happens at the higher layers and does not encrypt headers and trailers, right? Headers और trailers के अंदर at a very layman, I mean as a layman you must be knowing that header and trailers must contain certain sort of control information. जो आपकी control bits होती है ना, they are going to be managed by these bits, right? And what else, the actually जो payload आपका होता है वो आपकी actual information होती है that is being traveling. So when we are talking about end-to-end encryption, your actual payload is encrypted, all other control bits are not encrypted. So definitely due to this reason इन ड्यूरिंग एन एंड टू एंड इंक्रिप्शन आपका जो डेटा है ना हर एक राउटर पे जाके इनक्रिप्ट और डिक्रिप्ट नहीं हो रहा होता या डिक्रिप्ट और री इनक्रिप्ट नहीं हो रहा होता, राइट? उसका रीजन ये है कि यूर कंट्रोल बिट्स आर फ्री, दे आर नॉट इनक्रिप्टेड, ओनली पेलोड इज इनक्रिप्टेड. बट व्हेन वी एंड इट इज वर्किंग ऑन योर एप्लीकेशंस लेयर, राइट? एंड व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट लिंक इंक्रिप्शन में एज नेम सजेस्ट कि पूरे का पूरा लिंक जो है ना वो आपका इनक्रिप्टेड होता है, ठीक है? तो लिंक इनक्रिप्टेड अगर होगा तो उसमें आपकी सारी कंट्रोल इंफॉर्मेशन, सारी कंट्रोल बिट्स would be encrypted. So as soon as your data would be reaching to the router, it needs certain next hop information. It's very important. It's very necessary for a router to decide which path your data has to take. So for that reason, your router must have to decrypt that particular link encryption for a time being, so that he might be knowing, it might know that where your data heads to, right? So for that reason, the link encryption is a bit slower than your end-to-end encryption. ठीक है जी? So encryption at different layer, we have end-to-end encryption happens within the application. SSL encryption takes place at the transport layer. PPTP encryption takes place at the data link layer, and link encryption takes place at the data link and physical layer, right? So these are the different encryptions that might happen at the different layers. So then we have MIME, multi-purpose internet mail extension, is a technical specification indicating how multimedia data and email attachments are to be transferred. The internet has mail standards that dictates how mail is to be formatted, encapsulated, transmitted, and opened. If a message or a document contains a binary attachment, MIME dictates how that portion of the message should be handled. Now see, like we have gone through the TCP IP protocols, we have gone through TCP, UDP, IP protocols. These all are the protocols which are being used to perform certain activity over an internet. Without these protocols, like an HTTP, you cannot send the web traffic. I mean, if HTTP is not enabled, you cannot send the HTTP traffic or the traffic over an internet. अगर आपका FTP protocol blocked है या FTP port number blocked है, so you cannot share your files. You cannot file transfer might not happen over the network. अगर आपकी इस तरह के multiple protocols हैं, like your DNS, DHCP, these are the different protocols which are performing certain sort of responsibilities, right? In the same way, MIME is a special type of protocol which is being used for email sending and receiving purpose, right? Any type of email and multimedia messages which are being attached with your email that needs to be handled or that needs to be managed by your multi-purpose internet mail extension protocol, or you may call it as MIME. When an attachment contains audio clip, graphics, or some other type of multimedia components, the email client will send the file with a header that describes the file type. For example, the header might indicate that the MIME type is image and that is subtype of JPEG. I mean, it is going to bifurcate what type of data or what type of audio or video file is being attached with your email and how to send that particular email to a user or like that, right? This is the whole responsibility of the MIME protocol. Although this will be in the header, many times system also use the file extension to identify the MIME type. So in the preceding example, the file's name might be stuff.jpg. Now see, the user system will see the extension.jpg or see the data in the header file, in the header field, and look in its association list to see what program is needed to initialize to open this particular file. If the system has JPEG file associated with the Explorer application, then Explorer will open and present the picture to the user. Now see, I mean, there are multiple extensions which are being read by the web browser. So when we are talking about the MIME protocol, it is going to resolve different sort of extension like your multimedia extension or multimedia files, and then they will help the browser to see that or to visualize that particular file to the end user, right? This is the main responsibility of the माइंड प्रोटोकॉल, राइट? जैसे हमें पता है ना कि एप्लीकेशन लेयर के ऊपर जो डिफरेंट प्रोटोकॉल्स होते हैं, दे आर गोइंग टू रिप्रेजेंट व्हाट, दे आर गोइंग टू फॉर्मेट योर डेटा, they are going to show your data in the form so that it might be visible in the correct format, right? So sometimes system either do not have an association for a specific file type or do not have the helper program necessary to review and use the content of the file. When a file has an unassociated icon assigned to it, it might require the user to choose the open with command and choose an application in the list to associate this file with that program. So when the user double clicks that file, the associated program will initialize and present the file. If the system does not have the necessary program, the website might offer the necessary helper program like Acrobat or an audio program that plays wave file. Now, what is the purpose of this particular slide? This particular slide is going to tell you that sometimes you are going to receive a files which have a multiple extension, and that particular file type might not be supported by that particular software. I mean, that software is not being installed at your computer and you might not have an access to that particular file. So what happens, your web browser or your helper program are going to enable you to open that particular file with some other compatible software or with some other compatible browser, right? Now let's suppose if you have the wave file or like that, it might not be opening in some other some particular, I mean to say that software or a particular data type, so it might be giving you an option that you might open that particular file some of the other programs which are being installed inside your computer, right? So this is again, I mean, these all things are going to be managed by a protocol that is called as your MIME, right? So MIME is a specification that dictates how certain files should be transmitted and handled. I mean, this is the responsibility of the MIME कि आपकी फाइल ट्रांसफर कैसे होगी और उसको हैंडल कैसे किया जाएगा. This specification has several types and subtypes. Enables different computers to exchange data in varying formats and provide a standardized way of presenting the data. I mean, it's a protocol which contains certain information, and it is the responsibility of this particular protocol to manage all type of data, how it is going to manage and all these things. So if scene views a funny picture that is in the GIF format, he can be sure that when he sends it to a DAVI, it will look exactly the same, right? So this is a general example. I mean, if some GIF format is being sent to some other person, so it must be looking like the same as it has been sent by the sender, right? So after MIME, we have another type of protocol or the subsidiary that is called as your S-MIME. S-MIME is called as your secure MIME, is a standard for encrypting and digitally signing electronic mail and for providing secure data transmission, right? Now, MIME has the same procedure, right? But if you are going to secure your information that is being transmitting through your email by MIME protocol, the protocol that is being used is called as your S-MIME, right? So S-MIME extends the MIME standard by allowing for the encryption of email and attachments. The encryption and hashing algorithms can be specified by the user of the email package instead of having it to dictate them. I mean, the main responsibility of the S-MIME protocol is to encrypt your email and the attachments that are being attached with that particular email and to transmit securely from sender to the receiver. This is the main responsibility of the S-MIME. S-MIME follows the public key cryptography standard that is called as your PKCS. So S-MIME provides confidentiality through encryption algorithm, integrity through hashing algorithm, authentication through the use of X.509, public key certificates, and non-repudiation through cryptographically signed message digest. Now see, S-MIME is going to provide you the confidentiality. I mean, we know that there are different services which are being provided by different type of people. If we are going to talk about confidentiality, that is being provided by the encryption algorithm, that is very much clear. If we are talking about an integrity, it is being provided by the hashing algorithm. If we are talking about the authentication, that is being provided by F.509, a Kerberos protocol, public key certificate, and non-repudiation is being provided by through cryptographically signed message ledgers. All of these things we already have discussed in detail in our previous lectures. So here we are I'm just going to give you an idea that how the things might happen or how the different services are being provided by this type of protocol, right? Then you have PAM. This is called as the Privacy Enhanced Mail. PAM is an internet standard to provide secure email over the internet and for in-house communication infrastructure. The protocol within PAM provides authentication, message integrity, encryption, and key management. So it is also an internet standard protocol that is going to provide a secure email over an internet. This is again a one type of protocol which is going to provide the security for any sort of email sending and receiving. Or for in-house communication infrastructure, the protocol within PAM provides authentication, message integrity, encryption, and key management. I mean, all of these things are being provided inside PAM. I mean, authentication also, message integrity also, encryption also, and key management also. So this standard was developed to provide compatibility with many types of key management processes and symmetric and public key methods of encryption, right? So this standard was developed to provide compatibility with many types of key management processes and symmetric and public key methods of encryption. It was also designed to be compatible with PKCS. Now see, like privacy enhanced email, its own crypto system or its own way to encrypt the email and send email to a different providers or like that, and it provides by its own way the authentication, message integrity, encryption, and all that. So these all things are going to be provided by many types of key management processes and symmetric and public key methods of encryption. I mean, like IDEA, RC, RSA, and all these protocols are being used to provide such type of security services to that particular email. So it is also being compatible with PKCS also, right? So this is regarding the privacy enhanced email. PAM is a series of message authentication and encryption technologies developed by several governing groups. PAM can use AES for encryption and RSA for sender authentication and key management. It also provides support for non-repudiation, right? The following are specific components that can be used in PAM, right? Now see, it is going to tell you that PAM is a series of message authentication and encryption technologies that are being developed by several governing groups. PAM can use AES for encryption and RSA for standard authentication and key management. अब देखें, PAM आपके पास वही चीजें यूज करता है जो हम previously discuss कर चुके हैं. I mean AES for any type of encryption and RSA for standard authentication and key management. It also provides the support of non-repudiation service inside the system. The following are specific components that can be used in PAM. अब वो components कौन से हैं? I mean, if we are talking about message encrypted with AES in CBC mode, you all are well aware about the Cypher blockchain node. So encryption is being performed by AES using Cypher blockchain node. ठीक है जी. अब public key management आपके पास कैसे होती है? That is going to be provided by using RSA, right? RSA को भी हमने पढ़ा इन डिटेल पढ़ा था. ठीक है. तो RSA आपके पास ये यूज करके की मैनेजमेंट का इशू आपके पास PAM इस तरह से सॉल्व करता है. And X.509 standard used for certification structure and format. I mean, X.509 is going to create a trust relationship between the user by digitally signing different messages between the user. So, digital signing का जो concept है, that is going to be implemented by X.509 standard, right? So, PAM has not caught on to the extent the developers has planned. The main issue is that PAM provides too much structure for different environments that require more flexibility in their secure communication infrastructure, right? So this is regarding PAM. अब हम आ जाते हैं pretty good privacy. I think I have given you an idea of pretty good privacy in my previous lectures. PGP was designed by Phil Zimmermann as a freeware email security program and was released in 1991. It was the first widespread public key encryption program. PGP is a complete crypto system that uses cryptographic protection to protect email and files. So PGP आपके पास एक पूरे का पूरा क्रिप्टो सिस्टम है. 1991 में ये डिजाइन किया गया था. It's a freeware by Zimmerman. It was the first widespread public key encryption program. अब public key encryption program का आपको पता है कि public key cryptography किस तरह से बेस करती है public private pair के ऊपर. So PGP is a complete crypto system that might be using cryptographic protection to protect emails and files. So this is the responsibility of this particular program कि basically ये आपके पास email security के लिए यूज होता है, ठीक है, and their files. So it can use RSA public key encryption for key management and use IDEA symmetric cipher for bulk encryption of data. Although the user has the option of picking different types of algorithm for these functions. अब हमें यहाँ पे क्या बताया जा रहा है कि अगर आप public key encryption के लिए it might be using an RSA algorithm. For key management and use it might use IDEA symmetric cipher for bulk encryption of data. ठीक है जी. की मैनेजमेंट के लिए हमारे पास यूज होता था RSA एंड आइडिया आपके पास यूज होता है फॉर बल्क एन्क्रिप्शन ऑफ डेटा. सो दिस इज हाउ योर प्रीटी गुड प्राइवेसी वर्क्स. PGP can provide confidentiality by using the IDEA encryption algorithm. अब देखें different type of services, security services आपको PGP कैसे provide करता है. अगर आप बात करें I mean confidentiality की, तो वो हमें कैसे मिलती है by IDEA encryption algorithm, right? Integrity by using the MD5 hashing algorithm. Integrity हमें कैसे मिलती है by using MD5 मैसेज डाइजेस्ट 5 हैशिंग एल्गोरिथम, जो मैं आपको डिटेल में पढ़ा चुका हूँ. MD5 आपके पास कैसे काम करता है, ऑल दीज थिंग्स. Authentication by using the public key certificate. I mean digital certificate concept I have given you thoroughly. So if you need to achieve an authentication, you need to go for public key certificates. And non-repudiation by using cryptographically signed the messages. So PGP uses its own type of digital certificates rather than what is being used inside a PKI, but they both have the similar purposes. As we have discussed regarding the public key infrastructure, which is a complete crypto system, which might be using different side of certificates, different types of users and all that, which can communicate by using PKI. In the same way, pretty good privacy has also the same features like a PKI, but they are similar, right? They have the different features, but they are similar, right? So the user's private key is generated and encrypted when the application asks the user to randomly type out on his keyboard for a specific amount of time. Instead of using passwords, PGP uses passphrases. The passphrases is used to encrypt the user's privacy and key that is stored on the user's and hard drives, right? So PGP does not use a hierarchy of CAs or any type of formal trust certificate, but instead relies on a web of trust in its key management approach. Each user generates and distributes his or her public key, and users sign each other's public key, which creates a community of users who trust each other. This is different from the CA approach where no one trusts each other, the only trust the CA. अब देखें प्रीटी गुड प्राइवेसी के अंदर हमारे पास सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी या सर्टिफिकेट अथॉरिटी वाला ट्रस्ट जनरेट नहीं होता. आई मीन नोबडी ट्रस्ट ईच अदर, बट ओनली द एंटिटी हु नीड्स टू कम्युनिकेट दे नीड टू ट्रस्ट द सीए, और जो सीए पे ट्रस्ट करेगा वो आपस में कम्युनिकेट कर पाएगा. दिस इज नॉट द केस हियर. आई मीन in this particular scenario, we have the transitive dependency, like A trust B, B trust C, then automatically A trust C. ये से हम क्या कहते हैं, ट्रांजिटिव डिपेंडेंसी, बिकॉज जैसे B को C पे ट्रस्ट है और B को A पे ट्रस्ट है, लेकिन A और C का आपस में कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, तो जैसे B दोनों को जानता है तो A आपका C को ट्रस्ट कर लेगा. दिस इज हाउ योर प्रिटी गुड प्राइवेसी वर्क्स. इट डजंट वर्क लाइक योर सेंट्रल सर्टिफिकेट अथॉरिटी कि दो एंटिटीज हैं, दे वांट टू कम्युनिकेट, दे नीड टू गेट अ सर्टिफिकेट फ्रॉम अ सर्टिफिकेट अथॉरिटी, एंड वंस दे आर बीइंग वेरीफाइड then they start communicating, right? This is not the case in pretty good privacy. So for example, if Mark and Joe wants to communicate using PGP, Mark can give his public key to Joe. Joe signs Mark's key and keeps a copy for himself. Then Joe gives a copy of his public key to Mark so they can start communicating securely. Later, Mark would like to communicate with Sally, but Sally does not know Mark and does not know if she can trust him. Mark sends Sally his public key, which has been signed by Joe. Sally has Joe's public key because they have communicated before, and she trusts Joe because Joe signed Mark's public key. Sally now also trusts Mark and sends her public key and begins communicating with him. The same thing. अब actually इसने इसको theoretical form में लिखा है, जो मैंने आपको बताया है ना. The same thing like कि जी अगर if A trusts B, B trusts C, then automatically by using a transitive dependency A trusts C. This is how, I mean, ultimately they need to share the public keys and then they can communicate with each other. So this is how they are being implemented, or pretty good privacy would work, right? So PGP is a system of I don't know you, but my buddy Joe says you are an alright guy, so I will trust you on Joe's word, right? So each user keeps in a file referred to as key ring a collection of public keys he has received from other users. Each key in that ring has a parameter that indicates the level of trust assigned to that user and the validity of that particular key. If Steve has known Liz for many years and trusts her, he might have a higher level of trust indicated on her stored public key than on Tom's, so whom he does not trust much at all. ये अब उसने examples दी हुई हैं, ये आप लोग खुद पढ़ लीजिएगा, ठीक है? So that is all regarding chapter number 24. ठीक है, इसमें हमने माइम को पढ़ा, then secure माइम को पढ़ा, then we have gone through PAM, then we have gone through pretty good privacy, and we are going to end up this particular lecture at pretty good privacy. So that's all for chapter number or lecture number 24.